Welcome back to the LCS Countdown. We're about 15 minutes away from Champion Select for Game 1, and there hasn't been a dramatic shift between patches 8.11 and 8.12, but there are some notable changes when it comes to pro play, specifically the departure of another item from the league shop, Banner of Command.
Any last words?
Tough loss.
Yeah.
That's a tough loss. Banner of Command removed from the game. Mark, in all seriousness, let's talk about what this does change for our pro players, specifically here in the NALCS, if anything.
I think a lot of people aren't going to super miss the item. I'm glad a little bit that burned out. Not the funnest thing to play against, but it was pretty important in the meta in terms of what it allowed. All those melee comps that didn't really have a way to siege inhibitor turrets. Hey, get Baron buff, get that thing, slap that down. You saw 2 to 3 a game sometimes, and that's how you would take inhibitor turrets. That's gone now, so people are going to need to find a new way with those really low-range comps to be able to do that. Combine that with the marksman buffs for the crit building marksman, and you might see a lot more standard play coming into the 8.12 patch.
Right, not only Infinity Edge, but Storm Razor got a small buff as well. So possibility that marksmen a little bit more legitimized here in 8.12 than they were in 8.11. And while plenty has changed since Spring Split, Jat wants to highlight what's persisted from patch to patch. Take it away.
Hey, thanks, Dash. And this happened in the TSM versus FlyQuest game last week, where you see FlyQuest with a dominant duo lane against TSM, who didn't want to be in that lane any longer. And this is shown pretty evidently early on. When Wild Turtle's about to hit level 6, remember, this is Brand Nautilus, and they have a lot of kill pressure. Zven and Mithy have a very hard time laning against this duo lane. Quan lands the hook, Turtle stuns, gets the full combo off, and Mithy dies. So it's very clear at this point that this isn't a good lane for TSM to be in. FlyQuest tries to use that pressure and go towards Drake. And this is where the fundamentals come in very heavily for TSM, because you just need to swap out of that lane. And I think a lot of times when people are laning against a Brand and a Tom Kench or a Brand and a Nautilus, they might forget that a little bit. So let's see the situation that's happening right here, because Wild Turtle has actually gone back to base and is running back to lane as the Drake is being taken by Nautilus. And this gives the duo lane of TSM an opportunity to go back to base and initiate a lane swap. The rest of TSM has to work in tandem with this, because they have Griggs Trundle, who's in base and needs to run top lane, and also Bjergsen can arrive top lane. And they're going to use the pressure from the Drake timing and Turtle going back to base to get top lane and gank Flames Darius. So let's just watch this play out and see how TSM does it and how FlyQuest responds to it. So one thing that happens is FlyQuest doesn't really sense that it's coming. They're not predicting this whatsoever. So Keen is still cheating towards Drake. All the while, all of TSM is running top lane to set up this gank. So we can see right here on the minimap that there's actually no one on FlyQuest on that side of the map where everyone on TSM actually is. There is Bjergsen getting pinged on a ward, and Grig is also walking over ward at the time. So danger is imminent for Flame, but he doesn't quite realize just how dire the situation is. And based on the fact that none of FlyQuest is actually prepped to take the turret or get any additional objectives beyond the Infernal Drake they killed about 30 seconds prior, means Flame needs to get out of there. Unfortunately for Flame, he's kind of in the wrong spot. He pretty much would already need to be behind his turret by the time he has seen Bjergsen and Trundle coming towards him. So let's just see kind of how dire it is. He does a little bit of a stutter step, probably shouldn't have walked up to that wave. And at this point, he's pretty much already dead. He's trying to save his flash until after the Trundle Pillar, but TSM has such numbers advantage that even after Flame's flash, they're still able to kill him, and the Nautilus comes in far too late. And the main point of this was more so that the fundamentals of League haven't changed just because you're not seeing marksman versus marksman in the bottom lane, and the TSM can still use the macro play to get advantages in the game. That's a lane that they lost, but they turned it into a kill on top lane Darius and the first turret of the game for about a 2,000 gold advantage.
Right, and it's not some novel idea that, hey, macro is still important or relevant, but it highlights the importance that when so many other things are considered in a crazy state or in a state that has not existed yet before in League of Legends, it almost puts more importance on the fundamentals as your baseline from which you can work from.
Yeah, everyone is talking about all the crazy picks that can come in, but if you're getting countered out in the bot lane or the top lane or whatever it is, there's still ways to break out of the laning phase and get it into this more macro-focused game plan, and this was the perfect example of doing that when TSM is like, oh crap, our bot lane's gonna keep dying from here, let's break it open.
With all of these taken into consideration, I've prepared some over-unders for you guys for this weekend's or today's game. So first up, we're looking at the combined kills per minute, across the games today in the NALCS. We're putting the line at 0.7. The context, week 1's combined kills per minute was 0.72, so just barely over.
I'm going under. Fake out. I pointed up, I'm going down. I'm going
sure?
under. Yeah, no, I just want to see if I was going to bait you and you're going to be like, yeah, over. No, I'm taking the under on this. I think with that marksman stuff we were highlighting probably becoming more in the meta, I expect the game to slow down a little bit and not quite be as bloody, whereas a lot of times you're seeing level 1 first bloods from people not understanding matchups. Like Vladimir contributed to 2 deaths 2 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and also around Spring Split, the combined kills per minute was around 0.55. I'm also going under because I do feel like, especially watching NA Academy, which at this point I feel like is a pretty good precursor for what type of picks we're going to see in the NALCS, it's getting a little bit back to where it was in the spring, and I think for that, the combined kills is going to go down a little bit.
All right, under for both of you on that one. The next one we're looking at is the average game time. We're setting the bar at 32:30. Context on this one, the average game time for week 1 was 31:42. So again, indexing above, we already talked about some changes, Mark, that might force a longer game time here in week 2.
And that is exactly why I'm going over for this one. Same line of logic. I think the game will slow down. I think people will return to a lot more comfort picks and they know how to play the game out from there. Less deaths in lane, less snowballing all around, the changes that came in. All that indicates to me a slower game time coming up.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go under because I think there's a few competing factors. A, the over-under is set higher than the average time was last week.
Yep.
And also, I think as the split progresses, we usually see games trend downwards as teams get a little more polished in how they close out games. But it's a tough one because Banner being removed and what I think the potential for a few more wave clear picks to come back could slow it down. I'm just going to edge under.
And while we talk about some changes that perhaps made marksmen more viable, the last category we have here for the over-unders is the number of marksmen that will be picked. We're putting the line at 12.5. Context is that there were 12 marksmen chosen within week 1's games. I will throw this out there. Marksmen picked in any lane will still count towards this number. So if you have a Kai'Sa jungle, still considered to be a part of this number.
But Graves doesn't count, correct?
Graves does not
Graves
count.
doesn't count. All right, so I'm going to go over. I think just more marksmen in general we see in the bot lane, as well as the fact that you count the Kai'Sa. If anyone finally does a super gold funnel strategy here in North America, we'll probably see one of those there.
Yeah, we even saw Lucian mid getting funneled over in Europe. I'm going to go over as well, mainly because of the poor play I saw on non-marksmen by the marksman players.
Everyone's scared off now?
Yeah, kind of, because even in the LCK where I felt like their non-marksman bot lane play was better, they're still actually trending a little bit more back in that direction because of things like wave clear and like reliable late game.
Right.
But I think NA teams are going to jump on.
Yeah, do you double down on the non-marksmen and try and learn them even more, or do you go back to comfort and go back to what you know? That's a question left for our teams to determine. If you need some help combing through the numbers of the patch, tune into the Freak Show, though, where David Freak Turley crunches the numbers and how those numbers might impact pro play. Before we hear from the two of you weigh in on the matches, let's hear who the fans believe will succeed today.
All right, so for the first game of the day, I have CLG, and they're going to stomp Team Liquid with our boy President Darshan here.
I'm going to have to give the edge on Clutch Gaming for that one.
I got to go Echo Fox. I think Huni's going to go toe-to-toe with Power of Evil in the mid lane. So I'll go for that.
100 Thieves. I'm going to pick 100 Thieves for that one. They've been kind of in this slump lately, but I think this is the week where they can pull it back and hopefully bring it back and do way better this week. So
Golden Guardians, because Cloud9 is having some roster issues right now. And Golden Guardians did pretty good against TL last week, so they should have some sort of advantage because they are on a winning streak.
Thoughts from some of our fans in attendance today. I want to compare those to your guys' predictions as you've laid them out here for week 2, day 1. You two entirely aligned across all 5 games today.
Stop copying my homework.
But that highlights 3 major differences between you guys and the fans, being in those first 2 games and the 5th game of the day.
Classic mistake by the CLG fan, though.
Believing in them,
you can't predict CLG.
Darshan's going to lose the game for him.
Yep.
Yeah, the clutch gaming one also, if you're basing it off of what happened in spring split, would make sense. But I'm all in on TSM this split after like 2 games.
I like it. I like it. Commitment.
I think the closest one for me was surprisingly actually the 100 Thieves FlyQuest one.
Yeah.
Both teams haven't looked
Winless
great.
teams.
Yeah, haven't looked great. And it is a better patch, I guess, for Cody Sun, who was their all-pro bot laner. But it does feel like FlyQuest has done better in the meta thus far. At least they're trying things, and they have the ability to surprise them. So I almost flip-flopped there, but I did stay with 100.
All right, well, Mark, there was one person counting on your support. So let's go ahead and take a listen to this real quick, see if you want to change your predictions.
But my boy Mark Z always has our back. I figured it out. He was only hating on us so we would get better. But now he always has our back.
Yeah.
Is that true, Mark?
Yeah.
You were hating on them because you knew they could get better and you wanted them to get better?
100%.
Have they shown you what they need to show you in order
no.
for you to flip-flop on your prediction?
No,
there?
I'm still betting against them.
Withdrawing your support.
I just think it's amazing.
I'm
that
still
Mark
betting
is the
against
one
them.
getting all the flack for clutch gaming.
Listen, it's early in the split. I can't vouch for them yet. They need to lose a little bit early.
Right, they gotta beat TSM, as we said.
Yeah,
That's how you gotta beat TSM to be legitimized.
So I'm saying they're gonna lose today, so they win, and then I can take the credit.
And then from that point onward, you can go ahead and take their side. Jay, anything else to add in there on the predictions game? There was a fan prediction for Golden Guardians citing their win over Team Liquid, which was our most dominant and fastest win of the summer split so far. But again, a lot of people still look at Team Liquid as a team that, as the reigning champions, index too strong for most to take.
Exactly, and what happens early on in the game can decide the game more so than it did last split. And Golden Guardians had a lot of early advantages that they were unable to close out last year. So still, I'm gonna side with Cloud9. Fans got a good argument.
Even with the roster.
And predicting these games, Mark and I are at 60% currently.
Crushing it.
Crushing it. We will win every best of 5 with those percentages.
That's exactly
But
right.
It'll be very hard-fought best of
We
5.
will not predict every game.
They're all very tough.
It's really difficult to not only predict games early in the season, but also with the volatility we're seeing in the meta right now. It makes it all the more exciting to see it revealed.
All right, well, with that, let's turn back to game 1. Kane hopes adding more practice will fix Team Liquid's trip-ups from last week.
Thanks, guys. I just spoke with Coach Kane, who says that the team is ready to bounce back after their loss against the Guardians last weekend. They identified their strengths, and they are working hard to address them, going back into triple blocking for scrims and playing a lot more solo queue. When it comes to the meta, they're less concerned with trying to figure out what the other teams are going to play against them and more focused on their own strengths and play styles. For their match against CLG today, they're aware that CLG is a pretty good team, but they still can't take down Liquid. Back to you guys.
Stepping up on the amount of practice, also honing in the practice to focus more on their style, their champions. With that in mind, ahead of game 1, we've got Team Liquid here. Ja, I'm starting with you. Win conditions for that squad.
Yeah, I mean, Kane mentions sticking to comfort picks. I think that's how COG succeeds as well. So TL's win condition is to try and remove the comfort from COG. I think they like counter picking for who he's large champion pool. Your red side, if you're TL, you get to have that last pick for mid lane. And Braum and Ezreal, I think, are 2 of the best picks for COG's bottom lane right now, and are 2 bot lanes that Team Liquid is perfectly capable of playing. So those are the big targets I'd have for TL and draft.
All right, Mark, you're the CLG side of this conversation.
I think what we saw in week 1 pretty much identified Team Liquid's strengths. Still, they play around Doublelift, so they should prioritize their bot lane matchup here and make sure they find a good one for Stixxay and Biofrost. When Doublelift looks out of his comfort zone, it suddenly is much easier to beat Team Liquid. Also, flex on them, but not in a show-off way, but just literally they have a lot of champions that they can flex between. Darshan and Huhi actually set those up because on blue side, you're going to want to avoid getting counter-picked heavily, and you can basically give them 1 because they have that with the last pick in the draft, but by having more things flexed before then, you can probably get Impact to just default to some safe blind champion.
All righty, that's going to do it for the countdown. Time to toss it out to the boys in the battle arena to get us into the games. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Mark and Jet. I appreciate the handout here.
Thank you, Dash. You did great.
You're a suck-up. That's okay, though. I respect you. Now, we are here for the first match in the North American LCS of patch 8.12. The analyst has talked about it a little bit. Banner of Command is gone. That might be a big shakeup in the strategies that teams use right here. We're ready to go for Counter Logic Gaming versus Team Liquid in about 25 seconds. You can see in the top right corner.
Yeah, I'm excited to get it going, and Marksmen already were doing very well in NA in week 1. On 8.12, they are just a little bit better. Essence Reaper buff, Stormrazor buff, and we have seen, IE a bit cheaper as well. So, kind of some small buffs across the board there for the AD carries. And I am hoping and praying that we're going to see some Kindred. I love Kindred.
I think Kindred's good.
And Kindred got some pretty good buffs.
Yeah, much needed.
Much needed. Has been not so good for a while. And my boy Smithy here used to play a lot of Kindred.
That's true.
So I got my fingers crossed.
You get your fingers crossed, maybe like 2 sets
toes
on both
as well.
hands. All right, we're ready to go. Wow, I can't really cross toes very easily, but I trust that you have the ability. Azael, there's nothing you can't put your mind to.
Dexterous toes.
That's good. Extra toes. He's
dexterous.
Dexterous toes. Okay, that actually makes way more sense. Nocturne and Talia, 2 junglers banned away from Counter Logic Gaming. Want to point out that issue with Talia has been resolved, and there's no longer a bug with Talia jungle, as far as we can tell anyway. That champion's back up, but banned away by Team Liquid, not letting Rainover play that one here. No Xayah for Doublelift, so removing the only marksman he's played so far in this summer split.
Lucian has been banned against in both previous games, though.
True.
There is a possibility of CLG trying to look for that first pick Lucian to perhaps take that away from Doublelift if they are concerned about it. Biofrost not going to get to play Braum. Braum Ezreal was what CLG actually used both of their games last weekend. Darshan played double Ornn last weekend, so CLG was kind of just sticking with what had been working. I'm going to be very interested to see if CLG is going to look to branch out a little bit more, go to a carry versus carry style matchup, because Darshan, it does feel like a lot of these split pushers, that's where he had so much success in the patch, and with Aatrox rising in priority and Camille and Jax and all these sorts of champions being fairly popular, I think he has a good chance of success there.
And we've already got a Kai'Sa locked in for this one. I do kind of expect it to be Kai'Sa bot lane right now, just by the fact that Aurelia is there. I think Aurelia 90% of the time is going to be a mid laner there, and I don't really expect like Doublelift Aurelia with like super Kai'Sa mid.
Yeah, unless they're doing something super wacky where they're swapping around the players into different roles and these sorts of things, you do have to take into consideration when you are drafting against them. Looks like it's going to be 3 for 3 on Ornn for Darshan. Again, unless that is swapped to a support or something like that. But as of now, expecting Doublelift to be right back on the marksman. Very likely a Pobelter Aurelia mid. We'll see where they're going to go from here.
Absolutely the case. So one final pick for Counter Logic Gaming before the bans, and one final pick for Team Liquid right after that one. 8 seconds to go till CLG figure out what they want to go for. And Sejuani, 8.12 saw buffs to the champion. A lot more ability power ratios on the kit, most notably Runic Echoes into full tank seems to be the jungle build here, and based on the picks, you expect that to be a Sejuani for Rainover.
Yeah, and the clear has gotten a little bit better. There is no internal cooldown, and actually stacking up the stun on monsters in the jungle there, so that is going to help Sejuani out with the early clear. And a pretty beefy front line already coming in here for CLG. I do like Trundle a lot for Smithy as the answer, being able to have this specifically against Sejuani. Sejuani with her passive has so much extra armored MR. If you actually alter before that breaks, then she breaks, loses that, and especially with Aftershock, can actually go into negative resistances and even take true damage.
Yeah,
we'll see
a really big deal.
We'll see if Rainover actually wants to go, fleet footwork. We saw that pick earlier today in EU, which was kind of a throwback to the older Sejuani style for a better clear, and perhaps just try to negate some of the disadvantage that you have with that interaction of Aftershock kind of sometimes working in favor of the Trundle, with him being able to ult you during that.
Good in the case here. Interesting to note, of course, Lucian banned away by Team Liquids. They were more keen to pick Kai'Sa for themselves, and Doublelift respecting Lucian from the opposition, though, of course, Counter Logic Gaming have not shown their bottom lane at all, and with almost every champion in the game viable down there, it's going to be difficult options for Liquid. They ban traditional marksman. Lucian's very powerful. Ezreal, we've, as you mentioned before, seen from Stixxay twice before, but there are still probably 30 viable bot laners that Stixxay could pick up right now.
Yeah, certainly a lot of variety down there if he wants to go away from marksman, if he wants to go into something a little bit more crazy. Jhin is a champion that got a decent bit better with 8.12. Stormrazor got buffed. That is the most actually popular rush item and a bugged interaction with Stormrazor and the fourth shot, kind of the Stormrazor crit overriding the higher damage fourth shot for Jhin. That got fixed, so a little bit of a buff there. Singe looking like the pick here for Impact, and
yeah, And a popular counter pick to Ornn, of course, as well. That grounded from the goop stopped you from casting the second half of your ultimate. So been a very popular champion. Of course, an impact special as well. No one's surprised that it's him picking it up. But yeah, one's been very popular in the recent patches. Also now Varus for 6A, still sticking to marksman with a Morgana in the bottom lane. So just locking in those roles. This looks like a very standard spring split comp for CLG.
Yeah, and this is honestly a really strong bottom lane. This is something that we saw Clutch actually use quite a lot. There is a lot of all-in potential, and if we see Olay actually blocking the Nami, he's looking more for the Tahm Kench. I think this is a much safer option to deal with both the Varus ultimate as well as the Morgana bindings. If you do get caught into that chain with the Varus ultimate, followed up by the Morgana binding, the Morgana ultimate, you can get locked down and burned down very, very quickly. Tahm Kench is going to help a lot with that, in addition to, Sleepy Bubble Trouble, the Sejuani ultimate. So I think Tahm Kench is a fantastic pick here. We'll see how Darshan is going to be able to actually fare up against Singed in the top lane. And you talked about the kind of goop interaction there, stopping the Ornn ultimate, but it's actually a very tough lane matchup for Singed in the early levels. Post 6, once you have some levels, it does become pretty rough for the Ornn, but in the early levels, we have seen solo kills in competitive play. We have seen the Ornn kind of bullying out and really being able to kind of put some pressure onto this Singed, but if that doesn't happen, it can get rough, it can get frustrating. That being said, Banner being removed actually affects both sides of this matchup. A, as a fallback pattern for the Ornn, trying to allow him to have a little bit of pressure, and B, normally you would like to get that early Banner against the Ornn as well for the Singed to be able to kind of try to knock down that turret.
Absolutely the case. We'll see what comes through then and what people want to pick for themselves. AP Singed, my personal favorite, but obviously you might need the front line in a team fight here. Trundle and Tahm Kench there as well. No traditional mage in the Team Liquid roster, but of course, with AP Kai'Sa being the popular build, magic damage still there in the lineup. And we can see once again the rosters on your screen. You mentioned Ornn versus Singed being a Ornn favored early lane matchup, and in fact not typically known for his laning phase. We've seen Darshan get a couple of solo kills himself, even against champions like Aatrox. This could be a bastion of power for counter Logic Gaming. Zoe, the first pick of the draft, but up against Aurelia, one of the most popular mid laners in Pro League of Legends, could be a very interesting matchup to watch play out.
It's also kind of funny to say when you are looking at CLG, who has a marksman, but AP Varus is by far and away the more popular build these days. And if 6A does go AP, they're essentially pure magic damage, and then it becomes very, very easy for the Singed, the Trundle, the Tahm Kench to be itemizing that magic resistance, and even double lift going a little bit more defensive and these sorts of things. So we'll see if 6A is actually going to kind of adapt his build and go for more of a pure physical damage build like we used to see, Rageblade IE, Hurricane, these sorts of things instead. Yeah. I'm not sure if we will see that adjustment, but if he does go AP Varus, they are super one-dimensional in their magic damage.
Yeah, and I feel like it's pretty easy to stack MR. I think all those items are like, they feel very good, they're really efficient. I mean, Adaptive Helm is perfect against Varus. It's all repeated damage sources. Definitely agree this could be a difficulty for CLG 25, 35 minutes down the line if it gets to that point. We will see what happens. Both these teams sitting at 1-1. Their victories only against 100 Thieves apiece. Could feel good beating the previous NALCS finalists, but also a team that had not found their footing so far in the summer split. The squads scout each other out. Looks like no deep wards that I can detect, and so no obvious tells about jungle starts, and both these players can figure out which camp they want to go to in the Fog of War. Trundle on red buff, the same for Sejuani. Darshan, ooh, bone plating's now on cooldown. Advantage impact.
Yeah, it is, I mean, do you say it facetiously? It's a little bit of an advantage, obviously, not a big one. But bone plating can be pretty big, actually, in their early trades. Against Singed, actually, as far as I know, reduces each tick. The procs can actually take each individual tick of the poison, so that can be a decent little bit of damage reduction. But Ornn with the W, with Grasp, if you can get those passive autos off on Singed when he tries to run through and poison up all the minions, that is why it can be difficult in the early levels. Once Singed is a little bit more tanky and can kind of get to a certain point where you can kind of ignore the Ornn more easily, it does become a lot more difficult for Ornn, as you don't really have that kind of damage scaling that is sometimes required to get kills later on.
Right now we see that early little bit of pushing from Impact down on that side of the map, and a couple of attacks come out from Darshan. We watch the bot lane as the early pressure is going to be double lift and Ole getting this one level 2 right there.
It's also interesting to note that it is going to be the lethal tempo on Varus, which is going to be incredibly strong for team fighting, but if he is taking much poke and if there is a lot of trading going back and forth, double lift is playing fleet footwork, so he's going to have a bit more sustain because of that in the laning phase. And Both AD carries are going to be running teleports, so it may not really come that much into play. And when you are having the range support advantage, as 6A does on his side, I think it can make sense to set up your runes more for a later stage.
Interesting enough, Impact put a ward down in front of Gromp, but Sejuani is not passed through there right now. So even though Impact uses early ward, he does not see the Sejuani's top river right now, and now could be surrounded. The pillar is there. The charge is going to land for the knockup, but now Sejuani's going to start stacking up for the E passive to find that stun. The flash isn't going to matter. He's still stunned up. The flash to chase, and Impact goes down. Rainover passed around the ward.
Nicely done there from Rainover, committing the flash. They get the summoner from Impact and get the first blood. So that is very, very nice for CLG, getting some pressure down on that top side. Here it is one more time. As you said, not spotted out by the deep ward. This was a pretty interesting ganking path, and at this point, I think from Impact, you probably just shouldn't be flashing. When the E passive is on you, Sejuani's love to stack that up and actually wait until you flash, and then they have that stun to lock you down. So it does get taken out, but we'll still have pressure, and it's not like this is a snowbally matchup in the top lane. It's not like...
Yep.
Oh!
Flashes for the smite. Rainover did it early. Now it's a jump over to get away. That's at least something back for him. He gets to take 3 of the buffs, although I'd still probably take first blood myself.
Yeah, definitely rather have the first blood, but you know, it's kind of tough because CLG has a jungle matchup that is going to get worse for them as the game goes on, and a top lane matchup that gets worse for them as the game goes on. So, you know, they get that first blood top, but it's not really going to change too much, as it's just an assist for Darshan. Synth will scale and kind of start to really have pressure in this lane, and Trundle is going to continue winning the 1v1. So it's not that big of a deal for TL, and if you're on their side, you're pretty unconcerned about the fact that he gave up 1 kill.
Maybe so. You're seeing the damage done towards Darshan. Of course, he has already committed his teleport, though. And probably to heal up from before. So he's going to have to kind of weather the storm now with only limited sustain. Of course, Doran's shield probably still fine. Double lift himself. Look at how low he is now on this one. Still does have that teleport on Kai'Sa as well. And likely to pull that recently. Or soon, I should say.
Yeah, Smithy is not up on the top side, but Darshan is a little bit worried about that. You can see he's going to just wait at his turret and kind of wait for those minions to come back and try to farm under his turret, because he certainly is fairly low. We'll be able to regen up a little bit, and you know, as he gets some more gold, you can continue to kind of build more items as the Ornn and have a better chance of staying in that lane. But there is always the potential of Impact diving him at 6, so he's going to have to be pretty careful about that.
Definitely agree. So watch the health bar as about the 6th minute ticks around. Well, he has a flash, Darshan, and as we'll see how it goes when that comes through, though. As Impact still again running and looking for that flame. Can't quite get that, but that could have been several hundred damage yet again if he'd managed to land that. Either way, clears the wave, and a little bit low on mana, but probably okay to stay in for now. Smithy, nice grab, gets the scuttle, actually a level up as well. Even the Drake is helping. Everything on the map helping to kill off. Rainover gets a black shield and has to jump the wall, but so injured. Sejuani losing a lot of the map now.
Yeah, really starting to get pressured out. I mean, that time spent on the top side, the fact that he lost his blue, gets pushed back to base, now getting chunked out again, is really kind of giving the tempo advantage to Smithy in the jungle. And Smithy now using this time to get up top. We can see Darshan put this ward earlier. We'll see if he's going to be able to actually get out of there.
Yeah,
his flash was blown, though. So that is worth noting that that was actually a flash blown in the 1v1. That was off screen, so Impact able to force that 1v1 flash, as he may have hit 6 earlier. We didn't see exactly what happened there, but we'll be more vulnerable as a result.
Yeah, definitely something to watch for. You saw that gank hit almost come through, but of course he did get away from it in time. A good, sort of reasonably deeply placed ward. Nice redemption picked up. That's a great early item get for Huhi. Might be give some health over to Rainover in his jungle. He's having a few struggles over there.
You can see the wards that TL has actually put down here on the bottom side around this Infernal. I'm sure they would love to really kind of utilize their pressure that they have built up now and try to get that early Infernal. You know, as of now, Smithy is definitely ahead. You can see that Impact is kind of having the pressure advantage up there, and you know, Smithy, as he hits 6, they may be able to kind of look around that dragon for an early Infernal.
We'll see, as you mentioned, those control wards down there. We saw the Spectres point over it a little while ago as well. Double for this time, teleportless, and even despite the fact he's got fleet footwork, now so low on health, he's actually getting pushed out of this lane. You mentioned it before, this is a very strong duo, this Varus Morgana poke duo, and with an Infernal Drake up, this might be a very good time to start playing for that Drake on CLG's side, despite those liquid wards. Instead, it looks like a recall out for Biofrost, and they're just going to sort of be satisfied with the fact that they've denied one wave away from doubling.
Yeah, and as of now, it's kind of just a bit of a stalemate because CLG has the bottom lane advantage, because TL is stronger with their jungler and top laner right now, it is seeming. So And we'll kind of see how these two teams want to play it out. And TPs are going to be up fairly soon for the top laners. So Ornn does have strong, team fight at level 6. Reignover is now level 6. So there's a ton of AoE CC that's going to be coming out as Stixxay hits 6, Biofrost hits 6. You have like 4 AoE crowd control ultimates coming out from CLG, and maybe that's what they want to wait for and then try to fight around that. Even if you're weaker in the 1v1s, it's not necessarily going to matter if you are kind of matching up around that Infernal.
Yeah, I agree with you. CLG definitely looking like they've indexed toward team fighting power, and it is something that's pretty good to play around. Is, hey, make sure you play to your win conditions, play towards your champion's strengths, and Biofrost not too far from 6, a wave or 2, but the rest of them have it. Might be a place to go for as the Scuttle's picked up, and right now, still to look at that Drake. They will kill another ward. Oh, he stole 10 gold from Huhi, but that's all right. We'll forgive him. He killed a ward.
Yeah, clearing out a lot of that vision, so a lot of the kind of advantage that Teal had around that dragon is now gone. It's Scuttle control to CLG's side, and at the very least, that is going to help them to deny away.
Nice bit of play there, and even with, nice juke gets away from the Battlestar as well. Now Darshan taking some health damage on the top side as Smithy's around and wants to go for the repeat on this blue buff. Reignover's nearby. Smites are actually plus level 2 Reignover, 7 now on the Sejuani.
The smite as well, though, from Sophie.
Good luck winning this battle then, as Impact is here to play, and in this 3v2, it's going to be Team Liquid disengaging, but with that ward in there, always the chance for a steal.
Pobelter is pushing in, though, and this is going to actually force Huhi to go back to mid to clear that out, so TL may have the numbers advantage around here for a short time. Huhi, though, clearing out the wave, will come back, and this could be potentially a 3v3, but it looks like CLG is saying, nope, we've given up the positioning, and that's another blue buff going TL's way.
Well, that is nice. Smithy gets the smite right there, and the gold still only within 400 despite that first blood from before. Double of resetting the bottom lane, only down 9 himself, probably going to stay alive for a little while. We look now, some pillars are there. Reignover waiting in the brush. No dive going to come through, didn't want to pull the trigger on that. Sejuani was ready, ultimate prime. Instead, they go for the other side blue, maybe towards that bottom lane. But flashes and ult still available for Team Liquid, going to make that hard to fight for.
And now potentially trying to go for a 4-man dive. They're going to TP in 5-man bot.
All right, they've got the root onto one. The sun's going to come land as well, but he's got a stopwatch, buy some time. Here comes the Ornhorn. Looking for the knock and looking for something to do, but there's not going to be any kills picked up. The goop slows him down. Now in towards the Singe. He's right in the front, but he's going to be able to lock away easily. And Pobelter cleans up Biofrost. Counter Legend Gaming routed, forced to run away, but will they find more? No other kills. CLG's dive does not work out.
Yeah, 10 men bottom, but the only one they're able to really get onto is the Tahm Kench, who had a stopwatch available. He's able to buy so much time there, and the CLG dive really amounts to nothing. TP coming in earlier here from Darshan. Biofrost flashing forward, but Double is able to break the tether, and then your only real target is actually over onto Olay, it looks like. Olay flashes out of the orange stun. CLG gets completely split. All of TL is collapsing, and they're going to go positive on the play, picking up 1 kill.
And we did see like the Ornn Sejuani duo try to 2-man double. If the ult to get over Sedge, then flash the Ornn Call of the Forge God. So well played overall. Everyone on Liquid did a really good job on that one. That duo lane showing up nicely, and with the collapse, that's a good kill. Equalized that score, and Team Liquid now up 200 to 300 gold. As Biofrost knocks down that ward himself, who he gets a bit of wave control, and wait for one maybe more reset for CLG. Waiting to see what happens to that Drake sometime soon. Now it's Smithy. He's coming up towards this one, actually. Now a 2v1, and this could be bad for Darshan. Does have flash. Of course, the rest of CLG coming by as well, so Fling is in, but it's still a fairly healthy Ornn. He's going to lock away his charge already on cooldown. Reignover gets the Scuttle, and out they go, no kills.
Feel able to clear out Pink, though, will kind of back off for now. Maybe able to clear out a little bit more vision around this area. They really are trying to very heavily pressure this top side of the map. Knowing that Impact is going to have the pressure, he's going to have the advantage on this Singe compared to the Ornn. We'll be pushing him in most of the time, and a lot of nice damage there, though, out from Darshan. And I'm going to be interested to see what Impact goes for as far as his first item. Is it actually going to be something like the Leandries, or just even Rylai's into pure tank? Both can be pretty strong options. You know, if you do want to kind of go more for the team fight, it's generally just straight Rylai's in things like Righteous Glory or Shirelia's, and then tanky from there in competitive play.
Now, I gotta call something out, because this audience here ostensibly are League of Legends players. If you guys are so excited about wards, why don't you ever buy them in solo queue? I look at my mini-map, I see you guys. That thing's dark all the time. Yeah. Shout out support players.
There's a lot more of them than there are of you, Freak.
Yeah, but I got the high ground. We've all seen the prequels.
I believe they're all great warders. They're the exception.
They're the exception to the rule. That's why they cheer. They know.
We have a crowd full of challenger players.
Or they hate wards. That's why they like seeing them die.
Okay.
That's why they never buy them. That's what it is.
It's one of the great mysteries of the world. We may never know. But back to the game.
No, you're
Some
right.
League of Legends happening here. Rage Blade's being bought up on both sides here for the AD carries, and we won't find out for Stixxay really until his second item if he is going to go AP or go for kind of more of the old school builds. And I do really feel like it's going to be problematic for them if he goes full onto AP. It's going to be too easy perhaps for Smithy and Impact to really itemize towards dealing with that. And you can see Olay just using the ultimate to try to get Doublelift back to lane here as fast as possible. They're trying to keep this turret alive, but CLG is pressing.
First turret based on how much time they have, but you're right, with Smithy coming around, Rainover is there to help play defense. The pillar comes up. This might just slow him down. And Pobelter had first roam, but he's not going to collapse for that anymore. Now instead they're going to aggro for this Infernal Drake, and they have that temporary 4v3 plus Singed walking down the map, and Darshan has no TP, so Liquid for sure own the numbers advantage. It would only be a smite steal for Rainover. He's looking around on the sides, but he's not going to be in range or spot it. Nice pickup. Inferno goes over pretty cleanly to Team Liquid. Still, the chance to play for that bottom turret could be there. But now, again, Impact is around. The squad is nearby, except for Doubles, who's a bit far. Looking for Smithy. They're going to find only a slow. A lot of damage on him, though. Here comes the Ornn call, and he's going to pop the stopwatch, stay alive. So will there be the re-engage? They found a lot of damage. They've got that kill picked up. 1 for 0. Stixxay gets that. And now Impact might just be rooted up, might be chased down. This is how far runs low. They find a bit more, but not going to get the kill.
Snipe.
Doublelift snipes back a kill and takes down his old teammate.
Nicely done, making that a 1-for-1. It looked heavily in the favor of CLG, and now Hui can get chased down.
He's stunned. They've got an ignite, but there's a little bit too much defense on him. He should survive this one.
And he picked up a Zhonya's active there, so they wouldn't be able to actually dive onto him. Otherwise, that likely would have been a sure kill. Does have the stopwatch available as well, so perhaps respecting both. Either way, TL able to get a lot more than you would expect from that situation. They have a very low turret bot. It looks like a CLG would be able to take that down. They instead are able to defend it, get the Infernal. Then CLG has a 5v3 mid, essentially. TL's able to trade a kill, keep their turret alive, get the Infernal Dragon, and definitely coming out on top in that exchange.
Sticks his Spidey sense that he might have been getting hit down in the bottom lane, but no dive just yet. So the Krugs go down over to Rainover.
And they're going for Rift top. Like, this is really nice macro play here from TL. They know they will likely eventually lose this turret on the bottom side, but they're trying to delay. They're trying to get more objectives off of this, and that's going to be so frustrating. Just barely out of range there was Smithy from Rainover, and Smithy buying a lot of time here, allows them to kind of get some damage back, and now a fight over Rift Herald.
Herald picked up already by Team Liquid, but now the Drowsy in the backline. Look for the re-engage. They got to force to run away. A nice pillar by some time, and this might be Darshan. Isolated, separated, and going down. He's building what he can, but not going to get that one. And now in goes Doublelift. He wants the backline. Look at a kill off Zoe. Can't quite get that one as he runs away, but Liquid picking up another objective off the map, and an early smite as this resets.
But again, nice rotations there, utilizing the Tahm Kench ultimate, forces a flash out of Huhi. They do eventually lose that first turret as expected, but they get the Rift Herald, they get a kill, they take away the blue buff for the 3rd straight time. They can clear even away this Gromp, trade a turret top. So this is just really smart play from TL, knowing that they're at a disadvantage in the 2v2 bot, moving around the map, delaying enough time that they are now going to be able to go positive in a lot of these trades.
Absolutely here, 1,200 gold lead for Team Liquid as this top turret falls, and Liquid, if there's not going to be enough defense, can get another charge down at the tier 2. Looks like they're going to leave Herald alone, and Firefrost will get some damage, but it will still get the charge. This will be a 50% health turret as a result. As damage comes through that wave, not much of a problem, though.
Here's the fight one more time, trying to get in there, but the Rift Herald is already gone, and this is a flashless Darshan. This TL 3-man squad very, very strong in the fight, and with the rotation coming up here from Doublelift and Olay, the Abyssal Voyage delivers in Doublelift, getting a flash there out of Huhi, pushing them out of their jungle again, and ceding the blue buff for the 3rd straight time.
It's true, they've gotten every single one so far, so Team Liquid looking pretty good on that side of the map. Now we'll see what Counter Logic Gaming can do to kind of come back, because 1300 gold down, TL has reset, they've got items in inventory. It looks like Stixxay building towards a Stinger means will be that AP Varus, and again, as you mentioned in the very beginning.
Or something.
Yeah,
or a Blade of the Rune King, but it is likely going to be a Stinger.
Well, you're right. There's a lot of things that the double-decker could be, so we'll, I guess, wait to see what that is. But Magic is starting to stack up. Merc treads on a couple of players for TL already, and As you mentioned, Champ Select now on 4 of them, or 3 I should say, sorry. This endgame could be scary. 6A wants in, finds the root, quick cleanse out for Pobelter, slowed, but walks away from the Dark Binding, and that's not too expensive of a summoner spell.
Yeah, I mean, 3 Merc Treads, as you said. QSS already done on Tom Kench. There's a cleanse on Pobelter. They're going to be stacking MR, and this is going to get worse and worse and worse for CLG the longer the game goes on, unless they can find really an incredible kind of AoE team fight where they're catching multiple members, you know, with the Varus ultimate and the Ornn ultimate, and kind of just snowballing that to a team fight victory. You know, the efficiency is just so much higher for this TL side as far as itemization is going to go, if it is 6A going for the AP build, because even with Doublelift going AP, you still have Smithy dealing some physical damage. You have a big physical damage threat from this Irelia, and there's kind of a lot better mixed damage there.
Well, maybe you're right about this one, Azale. It's going to be a Zeal coming through for 6A. That could be Hurricane Shade, Replicate, any one of those items. Now looking for the dive on mid lane. Nice quick stopwatch used by Hui. Will he be re-engaged upon? Slowed down. Tagged by this one as well with the turret on. So will not go for the dive, as now 6A is here to defend. And they're going to stay alive on this one. TL, though, still get another advantage. Their gold lead now pushing to 2,500. Taking more of the map.
Yeah, I really like this from 6A. I think it is very intelligent as far as the itemization goes. MR still may be the right choice overall, because Varus is always going to do some magic damage, and there's all magic damage coming out elsewhere. But at least is going to make it kind of more of a risk now for the frontliners, as he does go into Hurricane or Rapid Fire or whatever, into IE and these sorts of things. Will be able to be much more of a threat, especially with that lethal tempo. If they can keep him safe with the Black Shield and with these big frontliners, he's definitely going to be able to put out a lot of damage in the team fights.
And Stix has been one of those star performers for Counter Logic Gaming. I think he kind of bounced up and down. He's had a pretty high variance performance in the NALCS, but I think of late, especially looking at Spring Split, he's been really, really good. And I think this is a player that CLG can put their effort into, and I think he'll reward them for their efforts. But now a pillar towards Hui, but just think they're not going to find much. Ole going to be bound up, but again, has that way to get out. Early QSS for him, and nothing to be grabbed. But this Cloud Drake up in 5 seconds, and a couple of summoners now missing for TL. Could make this a bit easier for CLG. Look for the bubble, not going to find that just yet. Smithy dances back and forth and waits for something to see.
But Impact is pushing on the top side. Someone's eventually going to have to answer that, or they need to force a play elsewhere. And it's kind of funny looking at the garage sale that Darshan has accumulated. He really is focusing on CDR, you can tell. He wants an Abyssal, but he grabbed the Sheen, he grabbed the Kindle Gem, saying that, hey, it's all about the CDR, which I think is pretty intelligent on the Ornn, because really you are your ultimate. As far as team fights, that is what you are. Yeah. And having that ultimate up every single time you want to go for a pick is very, very important. So he will kind of delay some of the item efficiencies with the completions, but he's going to have a ton of early CDR.
And even though he is about his ultimate, not simply about team fighting power, Team Liquid not letting CLG play that kind of style. The last big fight we saw out of CLG, the last 2 actually, Liquid went with a kill and nothing lost for it here. The split push on the bottom lane for Pobelter, got a solo turret down there. We saw on top lane, the wave was all the way down to tier 2. CLG have really not been able to find their way into the games. They're being bled out so far.
I mean, it's tough to see who's going to really be able to answer effectively in the side lanes. Now, who is supposed to be answering a 1-3-1 that could potentially be coming out from TL, right? You put Irelia in a side lane, you put Singed in a side lane, and then you have quite a safe 3-man squad with Tomkich as a QSS, the Kaisa, and this Trundle, and then you're kind of trying to pull CLG apart. CLG wants to find picks, wants to find engages, and even if you group 5 and try to hard engage on that 3-man squad, well, Tomkich can keep you safe probably through a lot of that.
Good luck then, CLG finding their target. As the wave again gets pushed in. Stixay being donated a lot of the farm. He has the most on his team. That I think makes a lot of sense as a very hard scaling crit champion. He will need to move on well. Natural 2 though done for Doublelift means he's on a power spike, and they could look for rain over. That was going to be a stun, but well, of course you've got Ole nearby. They're going to find the root onto him now, and he's just being thrown abilities into, but so tanky, and the Tom Kent able to walk away. And now a TP playing. They're coming for this big fight right now. CLG have nowhere to go. Here comes the Ornn Horde. Can this be the fight they need? Darshan kites back, finds a Naga, but already 6A is dead, and they get a second as Zoe falls as well. Looking for a third. Rain over running out of health. A quick stopwatch. Use a double kill now for Doublelift, and they look to chop down absolutely everyone. It's only Darshan left alive, and he's running for his life. The bodyguards are dead, Mr. President. You are going down 5-0. Team Liquid grabbed the clean ace.
Team Liquid pulling them apart, getting the item advantages. They can now head to the Baron. They're going to leave Impact to try to continue to pressure this mid lane. They will go to the Baron. This will be an enormous lead for TL.
Absolutely a beautiful fight out of them. Baron Nash don't need to shoutcast this fight. They're going to win it without a single casualty. A quick recall out of the Singed. nothing CLG can do to stop them here. Liquid have just completely smashed open the mid game.
Yeah, Liquid looking back in full control, Doublelift back on a marksman, and TL looking very, very good here. CLG want to go for the pick, but Sejuani ultimate onto a tank with the Tahm Kench behind him means you're going to get very low value there. And then the TP from Singed is just masterful here from Impact, running through, creating so much chaos. Pobelter flying in from the side. Singed able to buy a lot of time and survive, and that just means that Smithy and Ole are very easily able to protect Doublelift, who can start to fly through the fight. Great use of the stopwatch there from Pobelter, resetting the turret aggro and able to pull off a 5-for-0 ace at 20 minutes into a Baron.
Yeah.
Is essentially a death sentence for CLG, barring some insane amounts of throw from TL.
Absolutely agree. This is a super, super massive advantage now. So what will Liquid pick up? They're waiting with all 3 outer turrets gone and the tier 2s all available to them with 2.5 minutes still to play with on this Baron buff. No Banner of Command makes the sieging not quite as easy, but doesn't even matter as much. Pops the ult, flashes away. 50 stays alive, but does lose a couple of important cooldowns. Mid lane under fire, that cannon minion shot almost knocks it down, and it will fall. One turret down.
And the thing is, it's like, great, they got a flash mid lane, but they still lost a turret, and that's a 5v3 mid. They're getting 1-3-1, which is kind of what you expect from this TL comp. CLG doesn't even try to answer in the side lanes because they know there's no real chance of being able to 1v1 on either side. So all TL needs to do is wait until people answer one side, then you push on the other, and you just kind of continue this push and pull process. Impact will have that bottom lane wave to the turret at the inhibitor pretty soon. He's already knocked down the last tier 2, and the push will continue. And one wrong step from CLG means they lose the base.
In about 30 seconds of trying, Team Liquid have knocked down all 3 tier 2 turrets now towards the inhibitors. Now, Bolter must be a little bit careful about this. Does have cleanse, does have flash. He can get away from most of the attacks out of CLG.
Yeah, CLG basically their only way to do this is you wave clear quickly on one lane, then you go to the other lane, you hard engage, you get an immediate kill, and then you get back in your base and you defend those turrets. And that's what they need to look for. So it has to be a pinpoint engage with the Varus ultimate or a binding or that Orin engage. You immediately kill, then you get back to defense. Anything else means they're going to lose inhibitors.
Looking for the bind, not quite going to get that. Smithy was a little bit alone, but not hit by any of that hard crowd control. Able to walk away cleanly. The wave cleared once again, dealing a little bit of damage on the bottom side. Darshan chose to defend, but he's in a 1v3. An easy pickup down there by the fourth Baron buff on. Inhibitor turret's already gone.
Yeah, really nice Abyssal Voyage. Ole just uses the Tahm Kench ultimate, brings in Doublelift right on top of Darshan, who thought he was in a 1v1 against Impact, and that is an easy kill. The base is cracked, and they're straight onto the Nexus turrets here, looking for an end.
Zarla squished here. It's the 2 packs to go, but right now, gonna stay alive as they try to clear these minions out. But look at that, they defend bot lane, but top's already being pushed. But Walter finds another open inhibitor. He's still wailing away on that one, and Biofrost, not one who can stop him from doing this. The rest of the team will, though, force him to walk away.
I mean, Smithy is bringing in the mid lane wave, though. They're not planning on stopping anytime soon here. It's gonna have to be an engage from CLG, or they will be watching the rest of their base just slowly going down.
The last wave of Baron, 20 seconds left on the buff. Inhibitor in the mid lane now open as well. Who can find something? Here comes Zio. They're looking for this one final fight. The knockups are there. They're going to find a stun, but no one's taking meaningful damage. Liquid, weather all the ultimates and just kill 2 more inhibitors. It's an open base at this point. Nexus turret's the only thing standing from them and defeat as CLG wait for their opportunity, but just have not found anything.
And for TL, I think at this point you just reset. Baron buff expired. They're going to have a tremendous amount of gold in their pockets. I mean, 3K gold here on Pobelter, 2,800 on Doublelift, 2,600 on Impact, and another 4K are essentially combined between Smithy and Ole. They can spend up an enormous amount of gold. That's like 14,000 gold in their pockets.
Yeah, what's crazy about that is this gold lead here, this like 38 to 53. In inventory, it's like 38 to 43.
Yeah.
Right? 38 to 40, something like that. And they were already smashing the base. So now reset. Now it is really 39 to 53. And Liquid are, as you mentioned, with so much gold ready to spend. Upgrade 1.5 million items. Guardian Angel now done for Walter. No more deaths for him in this game except for a fountain dive. And this is all over but the crying.
Yeah, there's just, CLG didn't really find their opportunity. TL just pulled them apart so well with the advantages with this split push comp. If you fall behind as a 5v5 team fighting comp against split push, this is how the game will look if it is executed correctly. And TL has been looking so clean. It's just interesting to see this game and their first game. If you had only watched those and not watched their Golden Guardians game, you'd be like, damn, TL is looking amazing. But that one Golden Guardians game, they got pulled completely apart. And that is kind of the blemish on their record right now.
Now we'll see what happens. The stun's going to come through and not actually find a single soul. Now in the front line is Boas, who's going to lose the Guardian Angel. But Biofrost at 5 HP has to run away. Impact on the chase, going to look for someone, flashes in, finds his stick, is gone as well. 5 HP to close one out is who he's running away with Ignite on him, trying to stay alive. He might just do so, but it does not matter if he is, because this is going to be the base falling down, the Nexus turrets to fall, who he's still on the run, doesn't want to die, and he might not, but his base certainly will. A 28-minute win for Team Liquid.
An absolute slaughter. Team Liquid coming out today, firing on all cylinders, looking so good. Really playing this draft well. The first blood went to CLG, but that was really about all that went their way.
Yeah.
Not really able to get anything going. They had the 2v2 pressure on bot side, but TL able to delay the turret going down, get the Infernal, take down the Rift Herald, rotate top, knock down turrets, and really just played this kind of split push, spread pressure style game so incredibly well. So CLG never got the 5v5 they drafted for.
Yeah, they really never did. And the battles they did fine, they got flanked in and surrounded, and it was just very brutal for them. So well played to Team Liquid. Your reigning NALCS champions, sitting now 2-1. Very near to first place right here. Chronologic Gaming, of course, had their worst split ever in spring, a 7th place finish, missing playoffs, and sadly for them, it's a 1-2 start, so still work to be had. We'll see what they can do tomorrow against Clutch Gaming. Liquid's matchup is going to be a fun one against Destiny, against TSM, one of the only undefeated teams in the LCS. That one's going to be exciting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Wait for that. But that's I think, to me, the proof then, okay, Golden Guardians blunder happened. Sure, that was, Double F having a very bad game on Vladimir and other things going on. But, okay, 2-1 is a very good start. You've already knocked down 100 Thieves, who are the finalists. You get to go against TSM, who are undefeated and just one of the NALCS standouts. That, to me, is when you could say, yep, TL are definitely back.
Yeah, I mean, if they take down TSM tomorrow, it's an incredibly strong start, but still a lot of work to be done before they could do that.
Lots of work to be done, but we'll now hear more about that Game 1 victory and send it over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Freak. In just a few moments, we're going to hear from Ole, who will be interviewing with Avli. Before we get to that, though, let's talk about the victory here put together by Team Liquid. Jat, we laid out some win conditions at the top of the day for both of these teams, as your team was ultimately victorious. I want to take a look at how well they aligned with what you had thrown out there as their win conditions.
I think they did it. I said they should counterpick mid lane, which was easy when they're going to first pick the Zoe. Irelia was a serviceable counterpick. And then I said get rid of Braum, Ezreal bottom lane. First phase ban was Braum, second phase ban was Ezreal. And then from there, it was just about execution.
Yep, and CLG did not do what I said. This was a really good play by TL's bot lane. They split up, which forced Biofrost to try and pick between the two. He doesn't choose either, and the tether breaks on both. Really nice timing on the stopwatch to dodge out on a bunch of CC, plus the flash away. On the top side of the fight, Doublelift was also kiting out very well, using his ultimate and flash to get out of that situation. That left CLG stuck behind the turret, and they pick up that one kill.
Yeah, and this is another situation here where this is actually a good play by CLG, and TL is just out executing in the moment. Look at how close it is to having both people near the turret die. Impact almost dies. You can see Poe Belter almost goes down. A snipe randomly looks like it comes through to turn it into a 1-to-1. And eventually the scaling hits for Team Liquid, where they kind of really just break the game open with this fight.
Right, caught in a bad position. CLG is here. The ace ultimately going to come through for Team Liquid. From there, the advantage too great for CLG to come back from, especially with the scaling advantage that Team Liquid has.
Yeah, both teams take very standard comps. This is stuff you easily would have seen in previous metas, and then I think it really came down to CLG just kind of getting out-executed. That dive, very easily, if Biofrost just cut back and focused Ole to get his tether off on him, they get the stun, they get the chain CC, they kill him. They do neither. Team Liquid plays it very well, and that happened a couple times over the course of the game that they finally get that one backbreaking fight.
Yeah, and I think we're going to have a decent number of games like this early on in the season, where when you see this scoreboard, you see 28-minute victory, 11-2. Man, TL blasted them. But actually, the game was pretty close.
Right.
Those two plays that we saw in the mid-game were incredibly close and could have given COG something. So I think this was a close, well-fought game. Well-earned victory by Team Liquid, but I do not think it was a stomp.
Right, 20 minutes of near neck and neck. The last 8 minutes is really where that swing came in for Team Liquid and ultimately the victory. Other things of note here is, of course, the Sejuani making her appearance back in the North American LCS. I know it's been picked up by a few other regions as well, so continued diversity in the meta.
It just has a lot of synergies with meta champions. If you see Aurelia in the mid lane, you see Yasuo in the mid lane, pick a Sejuani, free stun setups with her passive applying on melee champions, and she just combos together very well with a number of champions.
I will say this game was MSI meta. This was 8-9. We saw Singe ban against Impact at MSI. We saw Kaiser was a priority pick. We saw Aurelia come in towards the end. All these picks would have been fit right in with MSI.
At the end of the day, though, this game won.
I don't know.
Just like, you want to dive back in there? Who knows? We got some solid AD carries in this league. Maybe they'll pull the Uzi method of or strategy to winning out there. To hear more about that victory, let's hand it off to Avali and the Team Liquid support.
Thanks, guys. I am here with the most wholesome player in the LCS, Ole. Congratulations on your victory. Now, we saw Team Liquid kind of go back to the more traditional compositions. Spoke with Kane today and said that you guys were going to be more playstyle focused and focusing on your own strengths. So how did you feel about today, and was it a step in the right direction for Liquid?
I think nowadays we try just traditional AD carry and support. I think that's much better for us because it's like if AD carry want to play Vladimir or Swain, some other random AD carry, they have to play tons of games. But it's really hard to play other champions because we don't have enough time because of Scream and someone just has some other hobby. I don't know. But yeah, Peter has played a really long time with just range AD carry. But I think his range AD carry is like just high level. So I think we are really confident to beat any other rear AD carry, so brand or whatever. So I think that's why we are confident today.
And I want to ask you a little bit about yourself because over Team Liquid's squad videos and over social media, it looks like you have been putting in more effort to take better care of yourself and your mentality. Yeah. Can you tell me how you're doing that?
Actually, last split after I just played Scream, and when I back to home, I took a break, just like watch movie, watch some Netflix drama. But now after MSI, I watch some soccer players or some great sports player, and they say they gonna put some effort, even though that's their vacation, their break. So okay, I can do that. So now after Scream, I just went back to home and then I just watched some motivational video or just maybe exercise, ride bike every day. So I think that's really good for me.
And last split, I remember you had said that you were having a little bit of difficulty taking criticism. Has any of that helped with kind of taking it?
I talked with Gerard, who is our mental coach. He's kind of my American father, and he listened to my every single word and from my heart, and it really helped me. So I think now I solve my many mental problems. It's like now, like when my teammates say something strongly to me, like I'm okay because this is my job. I want to be more professional. So like just say whatever. I'm gonna fix next game.
And on the spring final stage, you had some really nice words for Double Lift. How's that relationship going?
I think Peter is simple man. It's like if I'm good player, Ole, you're good. If I'm bad, So I think to be better both with Peter, I think I have to keep working hard. I want him to feel like, I don't need to think about my support stuff because I think when he only focus on his AD carry, I think he play much better. So I want him to just focus on his game.
And really last quick question for you. I overheard in the makeup room you really want an animal companion. Can you tell me about that?
I had one dog in Korea, and when I was in Taiwan, I had 3 cats. But yeah, sometimes I miss them a lot. But yeah, but I feel like as I talk with you, like I cannot have cat when I have no time. So maybe just I can do that. Yeah.
We could get you a Tamagotchi or something. But Ole, congratulations again on your victory. And for everyone else, we're going to be stepping away. But when we return, TSM hope to get revenge against Clutch Gaming. Don't go anywhere.
The charge going to land for the knockup, but now Sejuani's going to start stacking up for the E passive to find that stun. The flash isn't going to matter. He's still stunned up. The flash to chase and impact goes down.
I think I need flash. Okay, I'm fine now. Hit that. I got one.
Nice. That was really good.
Darshan kites back, finds the knockup, but already 6A is dead, and they get a second as Zoe falls as well. Looking for a third. Raynor running out of health. A quick stop block. Use a double kill now for double lift. Oh, he's going to lose the Guardian Angel. But Biofrost at 5 HP has to run away. Impact on the chase. Going to look for someone. Flashes in. Finds his 6A is gone as well.
An absolute slaughter. Team Liquid coming out today.
Welcome to Assist of the Week, presented by State Farm. Since we know the importance of lending a hand, we want to highlight players and plays that help the team bring home the big W. If you have a favorite assist from this week that you want us to highlight, tweet the clip with the hashtag NALCS and the hashtag State Farm Assist, and we may feature it in a future episode. So get out there and bring some support.